Welcome to The Debate, our AI review of episode 309 of the About That Wallet podcast, the one with Anthony Weaver and Michael Scarpati. It really highlighted the critical financial challenges facing the sandwich generation. These are folks supporting both aging parents and their own kids. So our central question today is this. What's the most critical first step for them to turn financial red flags into green flags? Is it immediately engaging with independent fiduciary financial professionals? Or is it focusing first on self-directed financial awareness and building good habits? I'll be arguing for the indispensable role of that comprehensive professional guidance right from the start.
And I'll contend that actually foundational self-awareness and using accessible tools are probably a more impactful initial step for many people in this group. It makes any future professional engagement much, much more effective down the line.
Okay, so drawing from Michael Scarpati's insights on the show, I'd assert that the sheer complexity, the inherent complexity of the sandwich generation's finances, it really demands engaging independent fiduciary financial professionals from day one. Scarpati pointed out that something like 85 to 90% of licensed professionals are not fiduciaries. That's huge. It really underscores how vital it is to seek out people who are legally obligated to act solely in your best interest. His personal story, the one about the retired couple, undiversified portfolio, uninsured pension, it just powerfully shows how even years of saving can be, jeopardized without that holistic planning. You need planning that covers tax prioritization, cash flow, unforeseen events. Platforms like Retire.s, they're designed to make this expert guidance more accessible, ensuring you get a comprehensive roadmap for long-term security, including, crucial things like 529 plans for education savings.
Okay. My approach differs, though. While, the value of fiduciary advice is undeniable, Scarpati's data also paints a pretty stark picture. 28% of Americans have no retirement savings, zero, and 40% don't have employer-sponsored plans. So, for many in the sandwich generation, the main red flag is basically not knowing what we don't know, as he put it so well. Before diving into what can feel like a pretty overwhelming professional engagement, I think the most impactful first step is cultivating financial consciousness and literacy yourself, using free tools maybe like financial checkpoints to identify your own red flags, like are you even sure about your retirement goals? And defining a clear vision for wealth. What does it actually mean to you? Optionality, freedom, plus implementing strong habits. These are accessible actions, right?
They empower people to build a foundational understanding, address immediate blind spots, and then make future engagement with fiduciaries just more informed and productive.
Yeah, but I worry that approach, while it emphasizes individual empowerment, it kind of underplays the complexity we're talking about here. The stakes for the sandwich generation are they're too high to delay getting comprehensive planning. That example Scarpati gave of the retired couple, it clearly shows how even what looks like secure long-term saving can be fundamentally really flawed without an expert looking over it. The nuances of tax prioritization, risk management, multi-generational wealth transfer, these are crucial for robust retirement and legacy planning. It requires a professional lens that, honestly, self-directed learning often just can't fully replicate, especially when you're juggling finances for parents and kids.
Right. I hear you on the high stakes, definitely. But isn't there a risk that pushing for fiduciary engagement too early, especially for those starting with zero savings or no employer plan, doesn't that just create a different kind of barrier, maybe even a higher one? Scarpati himself emphasized that financial consciousness at its core is the biggest issue. So starting with accessible tools, understanding your specific red flags, building the discipline of good habits, inspired by things like atomic habits, that provides tangible progress. It builds the confidence and clarity needed to effectively engage a professional later on, rather than seeing it as this huge initial hurdle.
But look, the concern about trust in the financial industry, that's precisely why independent fiduciaries are the most critical first step. With such a huge majority of professionals not held to that fiduciary standard, seeking out those with designations like CRPC or CFP, it ensures you get an ethical and legally bound commitment to your best interest. That's where platforms like Retire.us become, indispensable. They directly address that accessibility issue by connecting people with vetted fiduciaries,
basically de-risking the search for quality advice in a really complex landscape.
Okay, fair enough on the trust point, but what about the immediate practical hurdles lots of people face? Often simple, actionable steps are what build that initial confidence. For someone who's struggling, the immediate focus might just be avoiding common money pits, like that car purchase mistake Scarpati talked about, just through better due diligence. Or, leveraging easy-to-use solutions like 529 gift links for the kids' education funds. These immediate, tangible wins, they foster the very trust and momentum needed to eventually seek out and really benefit from a fiduciary relationship, rather than seeing it as this initial potentially overwhelming step.
We definitely agree that understanding one's financial situation and goals is absolutely paramount for the sandwich generation. However, I still maintain that the unique complexities and, frankly, the high stakes of managing finances across multiple generations necessitate the expertise and the legal obligations you get with independent fiduciary financial planners for truly comprehensive and secure financial health.
Indeed. And the ultimate value of fiduciaries is clear. No argument there. But for many in the sandwich generation, particularly those maybe starting from a less stable financial position, the initial and arguably most impactful steps are often found in cultivating that personal financial consciousness first, leveraging accessible tools, and building strong habits. That groundwork is almost a prerequisite for effective engagement with complex professional services later on. So, our discussion today, it really illuminates different, credible pathways to achieving financial wellness, and there's certainly much more to explore in the material itself.
Leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts.